Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Olivia and this is my channel where I love to talk about all things nail polish. Today's video is going to be more of, I would say, a chatty video than it is like any kind of demonstration video, because with Black Friday coming up and with more and more brands starting to put out their announcements about what exactly their Black Friday sales will be, I figured that it would be helpful for me to put out a video with some strategies and tips that I would suggest for nail polish shopping on and around Black Friday. Y'all, I say on and around because, okay, I feel like I remember when I was growing up that Black Friday deals would happen like on that morning of the Friday, right? Like my mom and I had this tradition where we would get out of bed at like 4 a.m, we go shopping and then get breakfast and had a really good time. And then slowly Black Friday started creeping into like the evening of Thanksgiving, and now it seems to be understood as like any kind of sale that happens in November is Black Friday. So I get it for indie nail makers in particular. Like I can understand why some of them, especially like if they're wanting to spend, say, Thanksgiving and Black Friday proper with their families, hey, do the deals now, and that way it makes it so that they don't have to be monitoring their store when they are wanting to do Thanksgiving stuff. So yeah, sorry, I'm ranting. Also, I knew for a while I wanted to put this video out, and I kept telling myself, oh yeah, like I've got some time. Black Friday isn't happening until much later, but it's like mid-November and I'm just in denial about how quickly this month is going. So anyway, the way that I'm going to structure this video is going to be to give my recommendations for how I would say to approach Black Friday shopping for nail polish if you are on a no buy, if you are on a low buy, and if you are on, let's say, sky's the limit, you have an unlimited budget. At the end of the video, I'm also going to include just some insights about how am I personally choosing to approach Black Friday this year. We'll see. And yeah, as always, I will have timestamps and everything in the description, so feel free to click around as you see fit. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, first up is if you are on a no buy, meaning that you have decided for any number of reasons that at the current time you are not interested in adding any additional polishes into your collection. By the way, if y'all see me looking down throughout this, it's because I've got my iPad down here and I've got notes and I want to make sure I'm covering everything right. So yeah, for those of you on a no buy, whether that's for nail polish or just shopping in general, I know how difficult it can be to try to stay committed to that with all of the influx of just reminders every single day from everywhere about shop here, shop there, shop everywhere. It's a lot. So my first recommendation would be for those of you who are on a no buy, and especially if, like me, you have a bunch of polishes that are currently untried, have ask a loved one to use your polishes to make an advent calendar for you, especially if it's something where you already have a bunch of untried ones. They could totally pull from there and make it from there, or if you don't have any untrieds, have them take some, like, give them access to your collection and say, hey, make me an advent calendar. I was talking with my husband about this the other night, and I chat with him about my video ideas, and without me even needing to ask him, he was like, I will make you an advent calendar. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then he was like, okay, how do you want me to do it? Like, he kind of called me out. He put me on blast for this a little bit. I was like, he said, I know you have a bunch of untried polishes, so do you want me to pack up all of them and like wrapping? You have a bunch of mystery ones. I was like, that would be cool, but why you gotta call me out? Or he said, you know, do I want to have like a theme or something like that? So I truly love that he is so supportive of my hobby. But yeah, I would say this could be something I suggest, because I know for many of us, it's like, especially if what you are personally drawn to for getting the dopamine doesn't come from the shopping aspect of it, but more so the receiving part of something. Like you get excited when you get something in the mail and then you unwrap something and you're like, ooh, new nail polish. I think that could be a really great strategy, especially if you decide to approach it of committing to doing a manicure with whatever nail polish it is on that day. So you know, you can also get have the person that you enlist to do this to, like, if you have a bunch of untried toppers as well, maybe there can be a day where they give you 2 polishes to unwrap and like one is a topper or something. So yeah, the advent calendar strategy I think could be a really good one to do. Next, number 2, my recommendation is to unsubscribe from your nail polish email newsletters, or set up filters to prevent them from arriving in your inbox. So I know in the beginning of this video I was talking about the Black Friday tradition that I used to have with my mom. Unfortunately, my mom passed away, oh goodness, what year are we in? 2025. So she passed away like 12 years ago of brain cancer. And she passed away in May of 2013. And if I'm doing my math right, yeah. And so here's the thing. My birthday is in May. She passed away in May. And Mother's Day is in May. And there's like this 1 week of May that all 3 of those will hit. Some years my birthday will even fall on Mother's Day. So things have gotten better for me now, but one of the things that I have found to be really helpful in this regard was that even to this day, I have an email filter set up where any email that contains, in quotes as a phrase, Mother's Day, I have that skip my inbox and go straight to archive because I don't want to see it. Like it's tough. And I think that I know that like any business you've ever done like anything with, they're going to email you. It can be a lot to try to go through and unsubscribe to everything. So if there are some nail polish brands where you're like, I do want to, you do want to stay on their email list, but you kind of want to cool things off for Black Friday, I highly recommend, especially if you're using something like Gmail that is very easy to set up filters with, go into your settings and specify exactly what search term like you want to have it look for and have it skip the inbox and archive. I've got to say that strategy has been incredibly helpful for me. Do I still see things about Mother's Day out in the wild? Yeah, all the time. But it's nowhere near as bad for me as it was when like I was still very heavily grieving, and then every other email that I would get would be about Mother's Day. Okay. Next recommendation is use polishes that you already own to create new collections that are based on themes, such as your favorite books, albums, TV shows, and movies. This could be a really good strategy for those of you who are on a no-buy, but you may not have a bunch of untrieds, and you're kind of like, okay, what can you do? So yeah, this concept of use what you have and create new collections. Like if there's a new collection that's dropping and you're like, oh, I really want to get that, maybe use whatever that theme is and make your own collection. I encourage you to pull out polishes that you particularly haven't reached for in a while. Maybe it's the case that just for a regular day of putting on nail polish, it's not really something you gravitate towards. But if you look at that polish in the context of relating to your current favorite book or your current favorite movie, that could help you to see it in a new light and give you some increased motivation to use it. So yeah, this is what I would recommend for those of you who are on a no buy. I encourage you, stay strong. You got this. Just because other people are choosing to shop does not mean that you have to. And please do not prioritize buying. Please don't buy nail polish if it means that you're not going to be able to pay your bills, you know? And I know there's things like Afterpay and Klarna, but y'all, those bills will come due for those, and just don't find yourself getting into that. Okay. Now, let's move on to talk about if you are on a low buy, meaning that you are okay with buying some nail polish, maybe not all of it, but you're setting some constraints for yourself, regardless of whatever that budget might be. First tip that I have for this, as I was planning this, I thought I have to put this as tip number 1. Please set an honest and realistic budget for yourself. I say honest and realistic because if you know that, I'm just going to say, like, if $100 is your honest and realistic, or let me rephrase this. Let's say you go into this and you're like, okay, $100 is going to be what you set as your budget. Set that, but then kind of pause and think about it and ask yourself, how many nail polishes could you buy with whatever you set as your budget? How many different shops are you thinking about shopping across? Have you factored in the cost of shipping into that as well? And would it be easier or more preferable for you to say, up your budget slightly to something like 150, which is maybe more honest and realistic for you, and know that you've given yourself the breathing room and that you can stick with that, than it would be to say, oh no, I know I can stick to $100, but then you kind of don't, and then it creeps up and it creeps up, and so on. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this kind of concept later in the section where I get to how I'm approaching Black Friday, but I would say with the caveat of, like, I am not a psychology expert, but I do believe that there is some kind of psychology to this. I'll just kind of tell you later on what my thinking is, but that would be step 1. Number 2, create a central list where you can keep track of the items that you're planning to buy from each store. Now, most, if not all, indie and boutique nail polish brands out there do tend to have some kind of wish list feature that is on their website, which can be very helpful for when you are looking at just their shop and deciding where you want to go back to. But the problem is that it is very easy when you are looking at shop number 1 separately, and then shop number 2 separately, and then shop number 3 separately, and then you keep seeing more and more stuff that you want, and you know you're at shop number 1 and you're totally forgetting about what part of your budget you might have allocated towards shops number 2 and 3, and so on. So my recommendation would be absolutely still use those stores' wish listing features, but also create something like a Google Doc, even better, a Google spreadsheet, or any kind of spreadsheet, doesn't have to be Google, but some kind of spreadsheet where you can take advantage of, like, numbers. Talking is hard. Where you can take advantage of, like, y'all know what I'm trying to say, like the spreadsheet features where you can tally up numbers without having to do the math yourself. That is what I'm trying to say. Oh my goodness. Okay. My mind is just all over the place right now. But basically what I'm saying is use a spreadsheet where you can just more easily have it tally your running totals for you as you add and remove things, as opposed to like a document where you would have to do the math yourself. Why was that too hard for me to say? I don't know. But the benefit there is when you have this central spreadsheet, you're able to keep like a bigger picture view of your shopping plans at all times. It's very easy to get kind of pigeonholed into just one shop and kind of forget the rest of the budget. So create a central one. And that can also be maybe like if you have some loved ones who are wanting to buy gifts for you and they're like, hey, what can I buy for you? That could be a way for you to share some ideas with them, like, hey, buy me nail polish, and so on. Okay. And tip number 3, this will come as no surprise to any of you who've been watching my channel, but I would recommend try to dupe your wish list items by using polishes that you already own. So my guidance here would be, start by just saying, like, here's all the polishes that are jumping out at me. Here are the ones I think I want to buy. So let me build the wish list and have it there, right? So then go back to your wish list and look at it with a more critical lens. Look at that and be real honest with yourself and say, do I already have this in my collection? Like straight out of the bottle, do I already own this? Or do I have the pieces to put this together and make essentially the same thing for that? I think it's a valuable exercise to do, especially if you are on a more limited budget. And if you are like, hey, I absolutely need to stick to $150 for my Black Friday shopping total, then removing one polish from your wish list that is a straight up dupe of something that you already own, that frees up a spot on your wish list for something that you don't already have. I will also encourage you to take a look through the Did I Nail It videos on my channel. I can put a link to the playlist for that in the description here. Even though those videos were associated with previous release drops, like from HHC, PPU, and so on, you can still look at the thumbnails for each of those and see if there's something in the thumbnail that seems similar to something on your wish list. You feel free to watch that and get some ideas for what you could use to dupe it. Okay. Next, number 4 is to do a destash and use the proceeds from it to go towards your Black Friday budget. Also, I can't remember if I said finally before the last one. If I did, this I think is the final one for on a low buy. Okay, yeah, so doing a destash. This is something that I will say with a few caveats here, because this time of year to be doing a destash can be tough, because we've been talking about budgets and a lot of people are choosing to set their nail polish budget towards buying new polishes that are coming out for Black Friday, or like stores like ILMP, where they may not be buying brand new polishes that have just come out for the first time recently, but polishes that are obviously new to them out of the bottle, but maybe it's been on their wish list for this entire year. So I'm just saying that if you are going to do a destash, you are going to want to adjust your prices accordingly, because I would personally say, if it's the case that, let's say there's a bottle of nail polish that you normally say like earlier in the summer, for example, you could get away with pricing that at $12 a bottle and getting probably a lot of takers for that. You might want to bump that down to $10 and see what you might be able to get that way. I mean, I look at it as, I would much rather have somebody buy that bottle of nail polish for $10 and then that $10 comes to me, than instead of that bottle continuing to sit unsold in my house indefinitely. You could also do what I often do, which with my destashes, which is to offer volume pricing discounts. It's been a while since I've done a destash, because I just haven't been in the right mindset to want to focus on like the processing that it requires for me to stay on top of it, with like making sure that I'm responding to people, making sure that I am setting aside time to do the packaging, making sure I set aside the time to go to the post office. I just know for myself, if I'm not in that headspace, I'm not going to do it, because people deserve to have their stuff responded to quickly. They deserve to have their packages mailed out quickly. That's what I believe is fair. But what I can do is post in the description an example of like the volume pricing discount structure that I have personally used before, which I think offhand is something like, if you buy like 2 to 5 polishes, you get like a certain percentage taken off, then there's another tier and then another tier above that. It really just like when people see like, oh, hey, I can get a discount if I even just buy 2 polishes, it kind of, I think sometimes gives them that motivation to want to buy more. So I'll put that in the description. Also, if there's some of you who have never done a D-stash before and maybe you want some help on that, let me know in the comments if me posting like how to do a D-stash video might be beneficial, and I can absolutely do that. But yeah, so the strategy here would be, if you are on a limited budget, but you're wanting to add some more to your budget, consider doing a D-stash right now, but keep in mind the time of year and adjust your prices accordingly. Okay. And now we are moving into, if you are on a, let's say an unlimited budget and you're going Black Friday shopping, but you don't have a budget, you're just gonna spend however much you want to. My recommendation there is going to be to use the Polish Pickup Indie Black Friday sales page to help you prioritize which shops you're planning to shop at first. And this is something I'll put a link to in the video description. If you have no idea what I'm talking about by this, Polish Pickup, which is the company that every month does like limited edition indie collab nail polish and other cosmetic drops. They maintain a master list of Black Friday sales from nail polish brands. I believe even nail polish brands that are not technically in PPU can submit to have their info listed there. So it's very helpful to reference. You may be wondering, why did I not recommend this strategy for being on a low buy or a no buy? Well, the reason being that if you've never seen that page, y'all, it is long. You will be scrolling a long time, and it can be so tempting to look at that and think, oh, okay, I didn't know that brand was having a sale. Let me check that out. Or I've never heard of this brand, but they're having a sale, so let me check them out. I think that if you are on a no buy or if you're on a low buy, if you're on a no buy, I definitely would not recommend that to you because you're on a no buy. But if you're on a low buy, I did not recommend that because you have already just decided that you're having a limited budget. And I feel that if you see all of these sales that are out there, for many people, that can be something that can be increasingly tempting and make you want to keep bumping your budget up more and more, even if that's something that you probably should not be doing. I personally only recommend this strategy for those of you who have a much more flexible or if not unlimited budget, because if that's the case, then different shops open at different times and have various sales. So this can help you to set some priority for where you want to shop first to ensure that you're not missing out. Just briefly going back to, if you're on a low buy, I would recommend pick like 2 or 3 of the brands that you already know and trust and that you have shopped with before and that you want to shop with again, and figure out what those shops' Black Friday sales are. Just by going directly to their website or their social media pages or their Facebook groups, whatever, you can get that information without needing to go to that Black Friday master list, because it's just a lot of information that can be very tempting if you're trying to reduce what you're buying. And another recommendation that I have, if you are on, say, sky's the limit, no budget, I would say that would be a really good reason to support new indie makers that you've never tried before. There's a lot of indie makers who are very new. This is probably their very first Black Friday season. And I know this is something that I try to do increasingly when I get the itch for wanting to buy something. I lately have been checking to see, okay, is there an indie maker out there that I have not supported yet? And I just, you get the the little goodies from the makers, like stickers, candies, things like that. But I just feel like when I open the mail from these makers, some of whom like have just opened up shop, and I get the little note that says, "Thank you so much, Olivia," it like, yeah, I'm not speaking with them face to face. It's just like words on a paper, but I can just imagine, why am I getting choked up? I can just imagine like how satisfying or how gratifying it must be for some of these makers who have, they're fulfilling their goal of starting a business. They're fulfilling their goal of doing something creative, and to know that there are people out there in the world who have chosen to shop with them when they would have had so many other choices, I think must feel really good for them. And that's a big part of why I love being able to do that. So if you are someone who is trying to decide where you are wanting to shop, and if you do have the budget to do so, I really do encourage you to use that Polish Pickup list and other lists that are out there to find some makers that you have not shopped with before. And even just 1 or 2 polishes, I think, can go a long way towards helping these newer makers know that they are not failures, and that there are people out there who are appreciating the work that they are doing. Again, I am getting choked up. I get really emotional when I think about this stuff, y'all. So, okay. So now I should talk about what I personally am planning to do for Black Friday. I touched upon the first part of this a little bit earlier when I mentioned that my husband is going to be making an advent calendar for me, or some kind of like, I personally didn't grow up with advent calendars. It wasn't something that my family did, and it actually wasn't until I met my husband and he was doing an advent calendar for everything. And I'm just like, what is this? So he loves himself a good advent calendar. For me, I'm not really as tied to like the specialness and tradition of advent calendars, but I do like unwrapping stuff and having fun with it. And I think, honestly, knowing how much he loves advent calendars in general, that's probably a big part of why he's so gung-ho about making me an advent calendar with my nail polishes. So yeah, that's gonna be one thing that I do. I also think that something I'm going to be doing is to try to use more of my cream and Crelly polishes. Like today I am wearing Holo Taco's Devil's Advocate. I'm wearing this like, okay, we're just gonna talk about my outfit right now. So I'm wearing an Old Bay sweater. If if you're unfamiliar with Old Bay, it's like a seafood / everything spice. I grew up in Maryland, and Old Bay is basically our state seasoning, and Old Bay is everything. Old Bay is life. And beneath this, it says seasonings, greetings. So anyway, originally I was going to try to do like a Skittle with yellow, red, and blue, but it just wasn't working. And then I was just like, I'm just putting on dark red, just why not? But for me, as I was putting this on, I realized something that I personally struggle with is wearing just like a cream polish and stopping, or wearing just a Crelly polish and stopping. I always want to put on glitter. I want to put on flaky topper. It is really hard for me to resist that. And there's nothing wrong with putting on a glitter or flaky topper, but I say this because one of the things that I am choosing to explore in this Black Friday season is to try to find ways to fall more in love with the cream and Crelly polishes that I have, and to see where I can find the beauty in the simple, and to really amplify those colors for what they are, and to not always have to bury them with some sparkle, because it's really hard for me to just stay with that. And like I said, when I get indecisive, I'm just like, dark red, here we go. So yeah, that's another thing I'm gonna do. And then when it comes to the extent to which I am choosing to shop, and I mentioned earlier in this video the concept of like where psychology comes into play. I know myself very well, and here's what I will say about the way that I know my mind works, and that it is a lot easier and a lot more effective, I guess I would say, for me to tell myself that I'm going to set some budget for spending on Black Friday, on and around Black Friday, than it is for me to say no shopping at all. And much respect to all of you who are on a no buy. I just know that for myself, with the way that my mind works, and also with the considerable amount of stress that I am under for other reasons that have nothing to do with nail polish, it's just like, I mean, shopping kind of makes me happy, and I know that that is something I should work on and explore, and believe me, I will. But I at this current point in time, it's just going to be a lot easier for me to say, all right, I'm setting a super small budget for myself, and also I'm only going to be shopping, most likely only going to be shopping with one of my favorite brands, which is Jen & Barry's. I haven't shopped there in a while, and I also love Jenny, the maker's holiday polishes in particular, and that's something that I do want to, if I am going to add something to my collection, I want it to be something that I know I'm going to get a ton of enjoyment out of. And so when I thought about which brands I most want to shop with, if I have to pick one, and I'm not saying I have to, but I just know for myself and setting some kind of constraints that I can stick to, it's going to be to just shop with Jen & Barry's and to shop at whatever budget I choose to set for myself. You know, the other thing with this is that when I think about the percentage of some of these sales, like I look at it, I do the math, and I'm like, yeah, it's saying this is a 20% sale or this is a 25% sale, which is, it's nice, but also in many or most cases, that really just comes down to like a $2 or $3 savings per bottle. And so then my question to myself is, on the one hand, my mind is like gravitating towards the marketing of like 20% sale, 25% sale, right? My mind is thinking this is a really good deal. But then on the other side, my brain is like, is it really a deal if you're going to go and spend money on something that you weren't going to spend money on had you not seen that there was a sale, you know? So when I think about it like that, I'm like, you know what? I would much rather keep that like $9 or $10 in my pocket or in my bank account than I would rather get that new polish right now. I hope that makes sense. You know, I guess what I'm saying is, if you're looking at some of these sales, please sit down and do the math and see like how much are you actually saving in a 20% or a 25% sale. And if it's something that you're like, oh wow, that's not really that much at all, then, you know, and also if it's the case that you can buy these polishes later, that would be something that I would recommend. So in short, my strategy is husband, make me an advent calendar. Also, you know, since he's making me an advent calendar, I've offered to make him an advent calendar too. He's really into Magic the Gathering, and I mean, he, on any given day, like he is like literally as I'm filming this, he's out playing cards because there's a new like Avatar: The Last Airbender release party, and he's doing that. So I'm gonna ask him and see like if there's some way that I can like make an advent calendar for him, or like do something special for him with cards or something. Anyway, he's gonna make me an advent calendar. I'm also gonna try to find a greater appreciation for my cream polishes. I think I might even make a video on that possibly. And then the third thing I literally just said, I think I'm gonna do math, or I'm shopping at one store. Y'all have heard what I just said. I've been talking pretty much nonstop for like, looks like a little over half an hour now. Like I said, this was going to be a more of a chatty video. I just yesterday got back home from being out of town in San Francisco. I was speaking at a conference, and the talk went really well, and I loved it. But then the thing that happened after I gave my talk, so like I was there at the conference for 2 days. Day one, I was there just kind of like, you know, flying under the radar, as much as one with bright red hair can fly under the radar, but still. And then on day two, my talk was first thing in the morning. It went super well. But then the thing was, right after that, everybody wanted to come up and talk with me, which, you know, I've got to say was probably some of the most inspiring and heartfelt feedback that people have given me. I mean, I had young women come up to me and say, Olivia, I want to be you someday. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. And I'm really glad that I was able to be there and to be part of that event. But I'm just saying that, like, I'm super introverted, and my introvert battery was definitely getting into the negative by the end of that day. And so I got back home yesterday and just crashed, and I'm like, what do I want to do to like recharge? So I told myself, film a YouTube video, but I'm not yet at the point where I have the energy to like swatch and talk. So I was like, okay, baby steps. Let's just talk. Let's just talk about Black Friday. So I am back. This is great. Yeah. So if you all are still watching up to this point, thank you so much. If there are any other kind of Black Friday recommendations I can give or tips that you need, please feel free to leave a comment with what you need, and I'll see how I can help you out with that. And if there are any kinds of like videos that would be helpful for you to see as you're going into this Black Friday season and beyond, let me know. That can be things like what I mentioned earlier of like making new collections out of the polishes that you already have. If you would like to see an example of how I do that, that might be something that I film as well. So yeah. Happy pre-Black Friday, I guess, because these sales are going to kick off very, very soon. As always, thank you all so much for watching, for being part of my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.